I gotta be honest, no sugarcoating, I am pretty frustrated with some parts of Endfield Gacha. There needs to be fixes for them, but this video is being released just 2 days before the actual release livestream. So things can change, whatever I say can turn to now. If they do change it then good on them. But for what I've currently seen in beta test 2, let's talk about how the Endfield Gacha works. The percentage chance to get the rarities are as follows. 0.8% chance for you to get the 6 star, 8% chance for you to get the 5 star, and 91.2% chance for you to get a 4 star. If you pull on a standard banner, there are no additional type of weapons that you can get. It's pure character banners all the way. So if you got a ton of 4 stars, they're all characters. Within 10 pulls, you are guaranteed to get either a 5 star or higher rarity. So by the 9th pull, if you still haven't seen a 5 star, if on the 10th you roll into the 91.2%, instead of getting a 4 star, it becomes a 5. If you get any 5 star or 6 star within those 10, it will just reset back to 0 until you clock up to the 10 again. 6 star has a pity counter of 80, so by the time you hit 79th pull, if you still don't see a 6 star on the 80th, you're guaranteed one. However, in most instances, you don't need all the way to 80. This game does give you an exact fine print telling you that the percentage chance will increase from the 65th pull. So every single pull you do after that, from 0.8%, it plus another full 5%. So by the time you hit about 70 pull, the chance of you getting a 6 star is 25%, which is 1 in 4. If you're still so unlucky, by the time you hit 75 pulls, it will be 50% chance for you to get a 6 star, 1 in 2. So usually, you will be getting a 6 star by the 70th to 75th pull. This game doesn't use the 50-50 lose into win system, whereby if you were to lose the first 50-50 of a 6 star, then your next one doesn't have a 50-50, it's guaranteed on banner. Instead, they have a fixed number of pulls where you can definitely get the on-banner unit, and that is at 120 pulls. So, however many pulls that you take, if by the 119th you still don't see the on-banner 6 star, then the 120th will give you that 6 star. However, if you do obtain the on-banner 6 star within 120, so for example you got it in 30 pulls for instance, that 120 guarantee is gone. So, since you've already gotten the on-banner unit, the game doesn't care anymore, there is no 120. If you're wanting to be a heavy spender of the game and you still want to obtain extra copies of the character, the game does have a nice system whereby every 240 total pulls you've invested into the banner, they'll give you the potential token of the on-banner unit. This won't affect any of the 6 star pity that you've been clocking up. So for instance, you are just 10 pulls away from getting a 6 star at about 239 pull. At 240, that pity continues clocking up, you'll just get a token that you can use onto your on-banner unit that you got. But talking about the 6 star pity reset brings me to the first problem. Imagine a scenario where you took 70 pulls to get an off-banner 6 star. So that means you need another 50 pulls to get the guarantee 120 for the on-banner 6 star. You've clocked up 50 extra pulls, you got that 6 star. What it actually does is that it resets your pity counter into 0. So you might be just, 20 more pulls to reach that 70 to 75 range. It just drops back down to 0. It feels weird, doesn't it? It's like as if you're being punished for working so hard to get, the pity that you want. You're just 20 more pulls short from getting another 6 star. Then just because you hit 120, now you got it back to 0 and yeah, it's just, I could have gotten another 6 star. Why did you reset that? In truth, a way to see it is a better system, because rather than to take another 70 pulls to reach your next 6 star, this guarantee 120 just made it such that you can get it in 50 pulls instead. However, because such a guarantee system exists, the situation it creates is that people will be hoping to get at least 2 6 stars off banner before reaching the on banner 6 star. So like for instance, if I reach 75 pulls and I got an off banner 6 star, I'd be hoping that maybe on the 119th, anywhere earlier than that, I get another 6 star. And if it's on banner, okay, sure, I win. If it's off banner, great, because now I can clock in that guarantee on the 120th. It's just strange that this is the system that they have, that the guarantee makes the 6 star pity reset. I would say a genuine solution is just don't make it reset. Allow people to still hold on to that pity, use it on the current banner, or even carry it into the next one. Which, by the way, your 6 star pity counter does carry into other banners. So like for instance, if you pulled 40 times in a banner, so you're about 40 more to hard pity, if you choose to stop there, the next banner, it still carries over into that one. But that brings me to an extended complaint that people have, and that is the guarantee 120 doesn't have a carryover. There's a scenario that you've put 100 pools in the current banner, and maybe you ran out of pools or you want to, save into the next banner. The last 20 pools you could have done to reach the 120 guarantee, that doesn't stay into the next one. It will reset to that full 120. To me, as an Arknights player, I don't find this 120 guarantee thing to be a problem. And in fact, I actually enjoy this system a lot because it very much mimics the saving culture that we have in AK. I know that in a lot of the bigger games, people have the tendency to build up pity, right? They will lose the first 50-50, then they'll say, okay, fine, I'll back out on this banner, then I'll pull for the next one and do another 80-90 pulls to get that specific character. But in this case, what this game is telling you is that for every single banner, there is no qualms at all. For sure, you can get the character within 120 pools. So if you choose to save up your pools, as long as you have 120 going to the banner, you know you will win. But it's not like you'll always take up that 120, right? There will be times that you maybe get the on-banner 6-star in that first pity roll, like maybe on your 72nd pool. Or maybe you get it luckier at 20th pool that you get that on-banner unit. So that means you have a lot more savings going to your future banners, such that as long as you always hold more than that amount, you're definitely going to be sure to win on the banner. By the end of this, the Guarantee 120 system is an overall win. It is using way less pools than some of the other bigger gacha games, and you know for sure at what point you'll win. But it doesn't feel great because of that wasted pools feeling that I just talked about. So again, easier solution, just don't make the 6-star pity reset, right? It's fine if we are just short of another 10 more pools to get another 6-star for ourselves. Let us use it more on the current banner or the next banner. I think they won't make such a change, but I guess people will just have to get used to the fact that whatever the current system is, it's not bad, but it can be better. I'm gonna move on to weapon banner in just a bit, but last thing to talk about, the character banner pool. Great that there's no weapons inside, but the 6 stars that are featured are limited units actually, but they don't just last for one banner. Every time a new character appears, they will have the highest rate up, such that 50% chance when you get a 6-star, it's that character, 50% chance is anybody else. After their banner ends, in the next 2 banners however, they still remain in the pool, so they become that 50% off banner chance, but they share the same probability as all the other characters. There's no slightly higher rate up, it's just split equally amongst all of them. So if you didn't obtain the on-banner unit before this, you have a small chance that if you got an off-banner, suddenly that unit spawns. So 2 banner chances for you to get someone that you maybe intentionally skip, and then afterwards, it's not added back into the standard banner pool. They stay as a limited character that possibly have reruns in the future. But limited characters just suck, man. It's the reason why I don't really enjoy playing the other gacha games, because standard banners don't feel good to pool at all. At least in the case of AK, the characters, not all of them are limited. Some of them do get added into a standard pool, which means that if you miss them on one banner, they could magically spawn as you're pulling into other banners. But in this case, you only give them a lifetime of 3, and then what the hell happens after that? I'm definitely gonna come back to this later on, but now, weapon banner. Goodness me. 2 banners for you to think about, but at least, a good thing I like about Endfield is they didn't make it use the same pooling currency. There are 2 currencies, so in this case, you need to think about the ASL tickets for your weapons. Weapon banner don't let you do single pools. You must always be doing in sets of 10, which is what they call as an issue. But the rate of a weapon is really darn good in the game. It's a 4% chance for you to get a 6-star and a 15% chance for you to get a 5-star weapon. The remainder is going to be for the 4-star at 81%. So the chance of you obtaining a high rarity weapon to suit your characters is pretty darn high. In terms of the on-banner weapon, it is a 25-75. And I don't mean that the 75% is for the on-banner weapon. It's 25% for the on-banner weapon, which is something that a lot of people debated about. In truth, it's not a bad thing that it's 25, simply because 25% of a 4%, it means that overall, you have a 1% chance of a pool being the on-banner weapon, which is way higher than any of the weapon banner in the other gacha games. That is also the rate of a 6-star on-banner appearing in AK. So in a sense, it is a very good pool rate, but because you put the number 25-75, it feels like there's a pretty negative connotation. Again, another instance of, feels like I'm being punished for some reason, like why can't I get the good stuff, right? The good thing is that the 6-star alternative weapons in the game, meaning the one that might not be for the character, are actually really good to use. This is something I can't take too much time to talk about, but even if you don't get the character-specific weapon, in truth, there are tons of great alternatives that might even make you feel that they work better on that specific character. But anyways, whatsoever it is, it's pretty easy for you to get 6 stars since it's 1 in 20 pulls. And the weapon banner also have guarantee systems in play. So if you don't get a 6 star within 4 issues, they will give you a 6 star on that 4th issue, so within 40 pulls. If you reach 80 pulls and you still don't get the on-banner 6 star, then there is a guarantee system in play for you to get that on-banner weapon, similar to how the character 120 works. During the second beta test, there were ways for you to get Arsenal tickets from maybe your level up rewards, your mission rewards, but those are temporal, meaning they aren't what you farm on a regular basis. Instead, the only way for you to get it regularly is by performing pulls using your Oro Barrels for characters. Depending on the rarity of the character that you obtain, you can get a certain amount of Arsenal tickets. So 4 stars will give 20, 5 star gives 200, 6 star gives 2000. If the character banner is your only source of proper income to the Arsenal tickets, the usual amount of Arsenal tickets that you get is such that within 120 character banner pools, you'll be obtaining 40 pulls onto the weapon banner, which is not exactly enough for you to guarantee the weapon that you're pulling for. Of course, again, you can maybe get the weapon within 40 pulls, but if you fail, then you still need another 40, right, to reach into the guarantee. So you really want Levitane's weapon, and you did 120 pulls, you obtained her, but you still can't get a weapon in the amount of Arsenal tickets you got. Then what are you supposed to do to get towards the guarantee, right? One would say spend money, but what is a free way in order to do so? Do you perform another 120 pulls? Then what, you're chasing for potential? Do you need that potential for her? Or you're trying to get more 6 stars and 5 stars on that banner for the sake of it? Then that way you have enough Arsenal tickets. Most people don't really want to do that. They do hope that there is a more inline way for them to get the weapon. But when you start putting luck into play, it complicates this weapon and character issue more. So what happens if I am so fortunate that I pull 10 pulls, I got the on-banner character, and that wouldn't give me that much Arsenal tickets to play into the weapon banner, right? I can only pull 10 times now. And that would mean I might be 70 short in order to hit a proper guarantee. Endfield Gacha just feels like it's complex for whatever reason, right? Some parts feel like it's actually pretty good, and then other parts you just make you wonder like what's going on over here. And to top it up, there's also other little systems that they try to do. Like for instance, if you pull at least 60 pulls on the current banner, the next banner, you will have 10 extra pulls you can use only on that banner, which means you're closer towards getting maybe that on-banner unit. But what if you don't want that on-banner unit, right? Then you are forced to do this 10 pulls for fun, I suppose. Don't get me wrong, it's a nice system to have more pulls for a future banner, but of course it kind of looks like it's set up there to give you a FOMO feeling, right? You put a little bit in already, why not just go more? In most gacha discussions of Arknights Endfield, there is one part that I think people leave out, and for me, discussing this part is my ultimate deal breaker. No matter how complex, how good or problematic whatever I told you is, this thing makes everything null, which is, what is the pool economy of this game? When I say pool economy, I mean that for every patch of the game, how many free pools are we getting? If you look at the bigger gacha titles, typically on average it's 70 to 80 pools, right? Barely enough to confirm a highest rarity for them. In the case of Endfield, if we do get the same amount, it will guarantee you a chance to get a 6 star. But are we going to get that? Obviously, Endfield isn't going to give 120 free pools for every single patch. That way, free-to-play players will always get the guarantee unit. There is less reason for people to pay for the game. So it's definitely going to be less than, the ultimate guarantee. Whatever the amount is, what matters is the accessibility to those pools. From this point on, I'm going to be giving concrete suggestions that I hope Hyperglyph will take. I don't expect them to take them all, but any single one, and if they were to take more of them, I think these will enhance the gacha experience. And they're not out of the blue type of suggestions. Instead, this is looking at what is already happening in Arknights. In the first Endfield review that I did, it is for the identity of Arknights in Endfield. And when talking about the identity of Arknights, One of the big reasons that many people still play that game is because of the gacha. It's one of the nicest gacha systems. It lets many people get all those 6 stars. If you're free to play, no issue at all. Lots of players in Arknights are free to play, and if you're paying for the game, have no regrets to be spending that sort of money. So let's make that comparison from here. Staying first on the topic of pool economy. One of the things that I get really frustrated by in the other gacha games is the fact that they lock some of their pools from the end game modes, whereby if you want to get more pool currency, even if it's not a lot, right, even if it's just 1 or 2 pool, it might still make the difference in certain banners, and if you're free to play, you really want to chase them. The problem with those endgame modes is that sometimes it gets so difficult that it seems like as if you need specific units or specific builds in order to clear that particular stage, and since you don't get it, then you don't get to experience that little bit amount of free pool that you can obtain. In Arknights, there are a lot of endgame modes as well, like Contingency Contract, Integrated Strategies, Reclamation Algorithm SSS, but none of these game modes will ever come with pools. They will give additional materials as rewards, but even then, it's not entirely performance-based, meaning they do have one of the highest difficulty ceilings that you can reach as a player, but they don't instruct all of the players to reach whatever their highest difficulty is. Instead, they have a middle of the ground difficulty that will suit most of the players to clear those content, such that you wouldn't feel like you can't get all the rewards because you don't have a squad of super strong units. Even if you're using people that you just got at the start of the game as a new player, you have 1 or 2 super strong DPSs, you get some of the other supporting lower rarity units, you can clear those content just fine. I don't get that feeling when I play the other gacha games. And this brings me into Endfield as well. That is, I need Endfield to make sure that if they are gonna give free pools to people, they don't lock it behind the fact that I need to clear a super difficult game mode. Clearing the hardest difficulty should be like how it is in Arknights. It's completely optional, people choose to add it to their playtime. No rewards being bound to it, just try it if you actually want to set a new record for yourself. I can't comment any further about the pool economy. That's something I'm going to watch so closely as soon as the game release. How many free pools can you get within a month, 2 months, and if you pay just a little bit in the game, like with monthly card or with the battle pass, just how many more can you add, such that you don't need a big expenditure, just this small amount of add-in will make you feel very good into the game. Then let's bring up a system that we're very familiar with Arknights, and that is yellow certificates. This is one of the avenues where we're able to get more of the higher rarity units. So in Arknights, you get yellow certificates from getting 5 stars or 6 stars. If you get more copies of them, you might generate more yellow certs as well. It's kind of similar in Endfield as well. For the 5 star and 6 star, they give this currency called the bond quota, which you can use it to get more pools for yourself. Again, quite similar to what happens in Arknights. And you can use it to purchase specific units. However, Beta Test 2 changed something from Beta Test 1. That is, you can only buy 5 star from this bond quota. In Beta Test 1, it allowed you to buy 6 star from the bond quota. I don't really know why they removed that from Beta Test 2. It would be great if they brought it back in the actual main game, because it's a system that just feels homely for the Arknights players. And for people who don't play Arknights, they can come to appreciate it as well to get a specific 6-star unit that they want. However, if they do bring this back, I don't want them to just only feature standard basic 6 stars. Instead, they should also do this to these limited 6 stars. Like after they have a runtime of 1 or 2 years, right? Start considering to add them on a certain schedule where you can actually buy them with a big amount of bond quota, and that way you can obtain them if you missed them way earlier before. This is a big thing that I don't see in a lot of the other gacha games. So if Endfield has it, it's gonna surprise everybody, and I really want them to do that. Next is a monetization strategy, which is something you see in Arknights, and if Endfield takes this on, I will kneel, because it will be absolutely crazy if they dare to do this. That is to give purchasable selector ticket. It is something that happens in Arknights, where the highest rarity is something that you can just straight up buy with money, not for all that much of a high price, right? 30 USD, they give you 10 pools, and they let you choose a 6 star of your choice at a big time range. So if you just join the game, middle of the game and whatnot, you can get the missing person from your collection. If Endfield can do this, of course I don't expect it to be at the same price. It's probably going to be way higher as well. But if 1 year anniversary, 2 year anniversary, just like what is happening in Arknights, they sell that, It would be crazy, right? Lets people skip all the gacha elements, just let people pay a singular price to obtain one of the characters they so desire. Again, other gacha games aren't doing this. Arknights is doing this. Can Endfield try to follow Arknights' footsteps? Following on, when it comes to the limited units, which by the way, I still wish that the release livestream would just say, oh, we dropped that system, we're just gonna do limited every half a year or something. Doubt that's gonna happen. But if they can eventually add it to standard pool, will be great, because if not, for my many years of playing Endfield, that basic banner is gonna look like a basic... I'm not gonna say the word, but it's gonna look like how the other bigger gacha games are doing it, right? Just 5 boring 6 stars that you eventually get used to, no reason to exactly pull for them. Anyways, that's not the main point I'm trying to make. Looking at Arknights and how certain banners go, apart from the event banners where they feature a new unit, when they're doing the reruns, they do banners that actually have a narrowed down rata. So like for instance, Joint Operation will feature 4 6 stars, and those are the only 6 stars you can obtain on the banner, no other sort of off-rate. It's a fascinating one. How about Orienteering banner? Features 6 stars, you choose 3 of the 6, and those 3 becomes the only ones that you can get on the banner. About 4 years into Arknights, then they feature a New Year banner, whereby your list of missing 6 stars become the only possible people that you can pull on a banner, right? Would be interesting if you're only missing 2 6 stars by year 3, year 4 of Endfield, then it becomes a 50-50 of which one you get. You don't need to care about getting all the other 6 stars. Again, would be fascinating if Endfield can give us great banners, just like how we see in AK, instead of just boring event and some reruns type of thing. Give people the chance to feel like there's more incentive to pull on great banner systems. Will there be welfare units? Free 5 stars for people to obtain from playing the banner, or even 6 stars. Maybe free selector ticket, 5-star selector tickets that people can enjoy. What more free gifts that we always experience in Arknights can we also find when playing Endfield? These are the things that they need to start to learn to mimic in order to get us to feel like, hey, it's kind of from the same brand. Understandably, the current system of Endfield may have to be suited for the fact that there's a smaller pool of 6 stars and 5 stars, it's a 3D game, higher production value, and maybe they need more money from the players. But it's Arknights that we're talking about here, a game that is so much praised for its gacha systems. Endfield isn't quite hitting that mark just yet, so can it take the things that Arknights is doing well and to put it into its game also? Got to sweeten up the gacha of Endfield. Make it less complicated, easier to follow, and also get people to feel good about doing these gacha pools, or even feel good if they were to put just a little bit of money into it. That's the point I'm making for this video, and let's see what happens on the release livestream, because this is before that. If you're watching it after, let's see also how things stay the same or be different. To me, a final word that I would put is that I don't think I can judge truthfully whether the gacha is good or bad, because I think it comes down to feeling, right? When there's so many things going on, we probably want to care about the fact that in 3 months or 6 months of playing, do we get most of the characters that we want? Do we feel like there's too many events where we often lose out just a little bit to get to the pool amount that we require, right? Does Endfield make it problematic, or does Endfield make it easy? These are things that the beta test can't show. These are things that I'm not going to be able to find out in just the release period of Endfield. It's going to actually need me to take a longer playtime in order for me to finally say if Endfield's gacha is alright or not. That's one of the reasons why I've long refused to say whether this is a great gacha or terrible gacha, because it needs a reviewing time. So that's all I'm going to say for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. There'll be a final video which is for the base. I think I will be able to produce that before the game release, so look forward to it. Bye bye.